What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got a special client interview today. I'm with my guy, Jake. Jake came to us and actually had a pretty unique situation. Don't want to steal his thunder, but I'm super, super excited and thank you for jumping on. So if you want to, maybe just kind of kick it off and tell me a little bit about, yourself and your situation and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me first and foremost. So my name is Jake. I played for 4 years at Gonzaga University. I was a pitcher. Um, Graduated, went the total corporate route, got a corporate job, working the 9 to 5, grinding. I'd kind of done lessons on the side here and there throughout college, during college, and then right after college as well. It kind of fell off a little bit. But I mean, obviously, I was watching a ton of Nick's content. Knew I didn't want to be in the corporate world forever. So definitely was inspired to kind of look at some other opportunities. So what I ended up doing is I hit up some of the guys I played college ball with. Two of them play professionally currently, and then one also retired. We all played together, best friends, and said, "Hey, like, here's the idea. This guy I know, Nick, is doing it, and he's been successful, and he's got tons of guys who are being successful. Like, let's give it a shot. We've got a ton of information, a ton of access to information, and basically we just took it from there and said, let's just jump in, let's just do it. And so that's where we're at now. We're just growing and trying to make it happen.
Yeah, sweet, bro. Sweet. Well, maybe why don't you dive a little bit into the weeds a little bit more? Like, where were you guys at before, we started working together? Like, did you guys have athletes? Like, where were you at?
So the answer is no to all that. We started from dead scratch. Like, we didn't even have a social media page. Just like we had all of our individual pages, just like personal pages, but like very much not tailored towards training athletes. At the time we started, I had zero in-person athletes, zero remote athletes, maybe a few connections from guys I'd trained years ago, but honestly, none of us had anything. So we started from dead scratch, and just said, let's try it. Never had made content before, never had posted on social media advertising before, never had done remote training before, nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. What do you feel like was maybe the most challenging part mentally, like diving headfirst into it? 'Cause not a lot of people are willing to do that.
Yeah. I think step one's the hardest step. And if you take step one hard enough, you just end up falling forward and you just keep going. Um, so like I would say we just went for it. We weren't hesitant because I feel like if you just try to dip your toe in the water, like I'm going to test it out, then you do it half-heartedly, and nothing's going to work when you do it half-heartedly, especially when it's difficult. Like what we're doing is not easy, but when we go for it and we just like decided and committed, then everything else falls into place because it has to. You don't have a choice. Once you're rolling, you just have to figure out problems, you have to solve problems, and you have to make it work. That's the only option. So I would say like the hardest part was step one, and like committing to putting yourself out there, committing to being vulnerable. Um, a lot of we didn't experience it, but I'm sure a lot of people are out there watching our social media who know us and are like, what are these guys trying to do? But like it doesn't like you just have to push past that, not care. You're not doing it for anybody else but yourself, but your team. For me, I like we have a team, so I'm doing it for the guy next to me. They're doing it back. So like the accountability is on you. So I just say like committing to that first step really aggressively. Like don't do it half-heartedly. And that was like the biggest challenge. And then putting yourself out there on social media, especially when you scroll through social media and you see a lot of content that looks great, and you're like, I have no idea how to make that. Of course you do. Of course you don't. You never started it before, but like you're gonna learn really fast.
Definitely. Definitely. What do you feel like were the biggest factors for you guys in order to like have, success with this?
I think a couple things. Obviously, like starting from dead scratch, there's about a million questions that we had. Honestly, I like getting into your program. We didn't even have to ask you those questions because you'd already pre-thought of answers and put it in your content that we get access to. So like right away, you just learn everything that you need to know. So like you just think of a question that you have, or you get to a problem you have, and you had already made content on it. And if you hadn't, someone else had already in the community had already asked the question, or you already brought it up on a coaching call and you got the answer. So that was super beneficial to start because there's so many things you just don't know, whether that's on the business side, content side, program side, where are you coming from, how to approach it. Like there's a lot of questions, and that's okay to have a lot of questions. But like the ease of access, getting into your course, like literally the next day, like the moment we signed up, the value that we were provided with that we could access and just like go was like second to none. And then of course the community is huge. Like seeing other guys win, seeing that it can be done, having other guys ask the same questions that we're thinking about, um, bouncing ideas off of each other. Like the community support is unreal. And whether you like to interact in a community or you just like to kind of stand and watch the community, like it's encouraging either way. So I'd say like the amount of value and the amount of information we immediately had access to was the biggest help in getting started because there's so many questions. But then also social proof of being in a community that it's going to continue to grow and guys are going to continue to have success and that the plan works. Because I feel like if you do this alone, you're going to try a lot of things and you're going to fail at a lot of things. We failed at a lot of things. But then rather than going back to the drawing board and having this question of is it going to work out in the end? You just get to pop open Nick's community and scroll through the wins and see 10 guys on the same day having success after experiencing the same trials that you went through a week ago. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so what I know you said you were like watching my stuff a lot and like I know we had a personal connection before. Not like we were
Sure.
like boys or anything. We played like two games together.
I
But
think 2 games.
but yeah, like what would you say the difference was? Or like how was like your expectation of what it was gonna be like different or the same than when you were on the inside?
That's a good question. I think it's interesting because we hadn't been in the industry before. I guess our expectations were way lower than what we actually experienced because we didn't know what we didn't like. We didn't even know the questions to ask prior to getting in the program. I didn't even know the right questions to ask. So like the fact that we get in the program and then you're already talking about things and we're going, oh, we should have been thinking about this way before. Um, like the value compared to what we were expecting was way more than what we ever could have imagined. And I think part of that's just because we didn't know what to ask, but also just like there's so much that goes into it, and having someone or a group of people who've experienced that before helps.
Definitely. Definitely. Maybe let's talk a little bit about like the successes you guys have had, like kind of the maybe like the reality of like what you guys went through. Because obviously, like you said, like it's not super easy. It is simple, but it's not super easy. So like maybe
Sure.
what you guys went through and then like kind of what the successes were.
Yeah. So starting from scratch, I think initially we sat down with Nick and had to set some realistic expectations. It's like, hey, we're not coming into this program. We're not coming into this program where we already have thousands of followers on social media and we're already training remote athletes with a program that's built out. And then for those guys, it's a little bit different because it's like, okay, we just go and scale. For us, we had to set the expectations that we are starting from dead scratch and it's going to take a lot of work. Like all of our content for our internal programming had to be created. That's a ton of videos to make. It's a ton of scripts to write. It's a ton of like script writing in general for just people to have access to. And so I think like setting the expectation that there's going to be a lot of work up front, but the upfront work then is gets way easier to scale down the road was couldn't be more true. Because it can be frustrating when week in and week out you're working on programming, you're working on content, you're putting out social media content, you're growing, you're gaining followers. Some of them are going viral, some of them aren't. Like you kind of don't know which ones are and which ones aren't at the beginning because you have 50 followers. That you just have to keep doing it. But then there was a switch where the time to content creation became so much easier. Videos were taking us 15, 20, 30 minutes versus 2 hours to edit. So that got cut down. We were starting to outbound message and we were starting to get in contact with athletes who fit our mold of who we're trying to work with. And then it became an easy sell from there because we'd put the work in up front and we knew the expectation was the work was going to be up front. Then the sale started to become easy. So if we find the right people who are willing to work hard and actually want what our program offers, the value for them to say yes, a lot of them like was nothing. That I had guys asking me within our first 5 clients that we sold, they're like, we'd get to the price drop and they'd be like, that's all, like that's it. And like that idea to me didn't exist because I was like, initially everyone's kind of afraid to say that number, but the confidence of like, you know, your number is legit. Like your number is something that is valuable and people will pay it and they should pay it because it's worth that much. Having that confidence from the community was huge. And then obviously we've been scaling from there. I mean, literally today I closed $3,800 in contract value today,
No
like
way.
this morning. Yeah, which is sick. Like our calls are getting booked out every single day for our slots. Like we're starting to get more inbound messaging. We went from 0 to, I think we're at 1,600 followers on Instagram, and it's not like 1,600 random followers. Like you look at the demographics and almost every single person is who we want to be reaching. Like it's not like we just bought followers and it's like some 60-year-old lady who doesn't want our product. They're all guys who are baseball players who want to grow, who want to get better, and who are interacting and engaging with our content. And from 0 to 1,600 in like 3 months. And that's not TikTok either. We've got like 1,000 followers on TikTok. So there's 2,600 people interacting with our content every single day. And maybe tomorrow is their 10th video they watch, and that's the final call for them to message us. And that's happened. Like I've had guys message me to say like, hey, I've been watching your content for 2 months. Like I think I want this. I love what you guys do. And so now it's just starting to grow. And I mean we broke even within month one, started to be profitable. Now we've crossed 10K. We're growing like this month alone, we're on track for like I think 9.5 this month.
No way.
And granted, like you got to realize in the industry of working with people, you're not going to make sales every day. It's
Yeah.
like some weeks are better than other weeks, some weeks aren't as good. But just the fact that people are interacting and showing interest in our program is great. And that's not even to say like the guys who are already in our program having success. Like we had a call with a kid from Nova Scotia. He lives in a rural area with zero access to good coaching. He goes to a D3 school with no pitching coach and has never like had the opportunity to grow. He's just a natural talent. He took like radar one day after our initial coaching call and he bumped 2 miles an hour just by fixing a couple things. Like that kid would have never had access if we wouldn't have put content out. And that's the best part. Is all 4 of us grew up in an area where we didn't have access to high level coaching. And like the barrier to be good at baseball shouldn't be based on where you live. It should be based on your potential. And so we're giving high school, college, pro athletes the opportunity to actually unlock their potential, no matter where they're from, no matter what they do. And that's the best part. That's what puts a smile on our face every single day. And honestly, every single person in our program has made at least one PR, even if they've been in the program for less than a week, which is sick. Like that's my favorite part.
That's crazy, bro. That's so sick.
Yeah.
It's it's cool like Because, dude, honestly, I hear a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I don't feel like online training is beneficial to athletes. Like, what do you have to say to those people?
Think about it this way. You pay X amount of dollars to train with me for 1 hour, one time per week, 4 times a month. That means you and I get to hang out for 4 hours a month. How much do you think Jacob Grom gets to go spend with his coaches and his trainers and his effort every single day to throw 100? Not 4 hours a month, I tell you that much. And on top of that, like if we spend 4 hours a month together, the only thing we actually have time to talk about is mechanics. Mechanics is maybe 15, 20% of the formula. That we don't even get to talk about mobility, strength, nutrition, recovery, hydration. The list goes on and on and on. Now with remote training, you send me a message, you take a video of your bullpen, I get back to you that night, you start fixing what we need to fix the next day. Like the time to value and the time to actually grow, you get to spend time with your coaches. You get to spend time focusing on everything more than just the mechanics and the throwing. So our guys, like, think time is valuable in your pitching career. If you're a sophomore in high school, you have 2 years left to figure it out before you will never play baseball again. So that year that you spend wasting time doing 4 hours a month of lessons, that's a year less that you have the opportunity to earn a scholarship to go chase your dreams. So that's where the benefit comes in, because if you're not training at the most efficient level of the guys you want to be at, if you're not training like a college athlete, you're not training like a pro athlete while you're in high school, while you're in college, you're wasting time. And you're not going to be as successful as those people who are doing that. And that's why remote training helps, because there's no way to get all of that in 1 hour per week. It's just not possible. And the only way it is possible is if you commit to going to see that coach every single day and pay a crap ton of money to do it. And that's your only coach. And that's not feasible either. So like for those who are saying remote athletes don't grow as much, if you're a hard worker and you're disciplined and you don't need someone to babysit you, it works better.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, it's the truth.
It is the truth. It is the truth. Dude, I appreciate you, man. What would you say to anybody maybe who's been watching my content? Same thing like you said. Somebody's been watching your content for 2 months and then boom, the straw that broke the camel's back. What would you say to that person right now who's been watching my stuff and is like, "Ooh, this guy Nick, I don't know."
It's not, dude, it's not even like, do you trust Nick? It's like, do you trust yourself to take the information that is there to grab? Like you either are scared because you don't trust yourself and you don't think you can do it because you don't have confidence, or you just hate money. Like it's one of the two options. Like it's there for the taking. Like the value is there. Just like it's a commitment to yourself. Like how bad do you want to change your life? How bad do you want to get out of the corporate life? How bad do you want to just train guys from your living room all day long and do what you love anyways? Like prioritize your life at that point. It's like, where do you rank your happiness? Where do you rank your success? And if it's not number one or number two or number three behind family, faith, whatever, like if it's not that next thing, sure, maybe it's not for you because you don't want it bad enough. But if you do want it bad enough and that's really where you want to take your life and get to that next level of freedom, not only financially, but with your time, the longer you sit here, the longer it takes you to scale to that point at the back end. Like if you wait one more month, how much money could you make 5 years down the road in 1 month? What's that? 15, 20, 30, 40 grand. So each month you sit around, you're wasting 15, 20, 30, 40 grand. Like you have to think about it at that point, because time is money. Time is valuable. And like you'll make back your investment. You will. Like don't worry about that. Make it happen. Do what you got to do to make that happen. Nick won't let you fail as long as you're really willing to put in the work.
It's true. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much, bro. Um, where can people find you if they want to learn more about Jake and his team and what y'all are doing over there?
Yeah. Hit us up at Fuel Vault Baseball on Instagram, TikTok. We've got a website, YouTube content coming soon. So definitely take a look at our content. We post stuff almost every single day. Lots of value for you guys to just go grab. Just go see what we're doing. If you start at the beginning, you'll see how we've grown as a company and as a team. Like our content's changed, it's gotten better, and a lot of it has to do with Nick and his program and his community. So definitely check us out. If you're an athlete, definitely check us out.
Shameless plug.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do, man. No
Absolutely.
shame.
Business is business, bro. I appreciate you. Is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap up here?
I just want to say thank you to you, Nick. Like you've never been short of authentic with us, whether you tell us something we needed to hear and like you didn't beat around the bush, or encouragement, whatever it is. So I just appreciate you being just like 100% you with no BS. Like that's just it. Like there is no BS because it is what it is. It's flat out. So we really appreciate that. You've definitely helped us grow a lot as a company, and definitely looking forward to working together in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, dude, I appreciate you jumping on. If you're a coach watching this right now, you want to do the exact same thing that Jake did, or you want to scale your business online, book in a call with us down below. We'll be in contact with you shortly. But Jake, I appreciate you jumping on. Catch you on the next one.
Sounds good. Take care.